Biographia Literaria, Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Introduction. Biographia Literaria, or in full biographical sketch of my literary life and opinions, is an autobiography in discourse by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, which he published in 1817 in 2 volumes of 23 chapters. The first intended title of the work was Autobiographia Literaria. The formative influences of the work were Wordsworth's theory of imagination. The work is long and seemingly loosely structured, and although there are autobiographical elements, it is not a straightforward autobiography. The work was originally intended as a mere preface to a collected volume of his poems, explaining and justifying his own style and practice in poetry. The work grew to a literary autobiography, including many facts concerning his education and studies and his early literary adventures. An extended criticism of William Wordsworth's theory of poetry as given in the preface to the lyrical ballads. Short Biography of S.T Coleridge, 1772 to 1834. One of the most influential and controversial figures of the Romantic period, Samuel Taylor Coleridge was born in 1772, the son of a clergyman in Ottery, St Mary, Devon. His career as a poet and writer was established after he befriended Wordsworth, and together they produced lyrical ballads in 1798. For most of his adult life, he suffered through addiction to opium. His most famous works, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, Kubla Khan, and Christabel, all featured supernatural themes and exotic images, perhaps affected by his use of the drugs. Coleridge was as much a prose writer as he was a poet, as revealed in his major works, Biographia Literaria, published in 1817. Coleridge's legacy has been tainted with accusations of plagiarism both in his poetry and critical essays. He also had a propensity for leaving projects unfinished and suffered from large debates. But such was the originality of his early work, but his place and influence in the Romantic period is undisputed. Coleridge wrote this essay in 1817. This essay is divided into 23 chapters. However, we have only 3 chapters in our syllabus. These are chapter IV, XIV, and XV2. To speak of the objective of writing this essay, Coleridge says that he has written it in order to prove that his ideas are not different from those of Southey. Most of the comments that Coleridge make here are directly or indirectly related to preface to lyrical ballads. The main aspects of this chapter are: first, Coleridge's criticism of Wordsworth's theory of poetry and poetic diction. Number 2, Coleridge's views on fancy and imagination. Number 3, Coleridge's definition of a poem and of poetry and the role he assigns to the imagination in the poetic process. Biographia Literaria, short questions. First, what is fancy and imagination? Second, what is Coleridge's definition of a poem? Number 3, how does Coleridge differentiate a poem from poetry? Number 4, what is the role of meter or rhyme in the composition of poetry? Number 5, how do Coleridge and Wordsworth differ on the use of meter and rhyme in poetry? Number 6, what is Coleridge's objection to Wordsworth's practice of poetry? Number 7, how does Coleridge find faults with Wordsworth's theory of language or poetic diction? Broad questions. Discuss critically Coleridge's concept of fancy and imagination. Second, elucidate Coleridge's theory of poetry. Number 3, what are the major objections of Coleridge to Wordsworth's poetry?